Hello, my name is Mark Taslermann and I'm working for the company CEP here in Germany, in Munich. And today I will tell you something about our products and how to basically use them in the field. So with some application examples. Let's start with some basic information about our company. We are a privately owned company with high capital resources and we focus on organic growth. We also are an international European-wide company, so our customers are basically all over Europe. And our technology focus is GSMR and GSM technology. So you can also say cellular communication products. And we have three main business units. One of the units is that we are a manufacturer of M2M terminals, and we also have terminals for GSMR, so that are basically made for rail service companies, and we are a distribution partner of Tenet in Germany. So let's start with our terminal products. We have two different types of terminals. You can see it here. Let's say it looks very simple. It's also a simple product. This is basically made for applications in the in industrial fields. And also we have a terminal that's made for telemetry applications. Basically it's for remote monitoring control. Let's start with our M2M terminals. So this is how it looks. Basically, it's very simple. And how we can use such kind of product. Basically, this product is made for simple data transfer. So we have, let's say, at one hand some external machine, for example, a controller, and then you can connect the terminal to the controller and transfer data from the controller to a server over the terminal. So, for example, here you could have a vending machine, and the data of the machine you can transfer to the server with help of our product. To have an exact example of applications, we have customers that use this terminal for vending machines. So, of course, you have a big advantage when you have many vending machines all over, let's say, one city or one country, and you want to collect data from this every kind of machine there to a headquarter. And this kind of data could be, for example, how many Coca-Cola drinks are in one machine, for example, so you can optimize your complete system. And also, of course, you have the chance when you let's say have a problem at one of these vending machines, then you can just get the info that one of them isn't working anymore, and then you can send a person to the exact machine, and also you have the chance to even know what kind of problem there is on this machine before one of your support persons is going to drive to this machine. So also it's the big advantage is reducing the costs. To have a look about our portfolio, we have 9 different terminals here, and they all look the same basically, but we have some different feature sets there. So we have 3G quad band and dual band technology. We have programmable terminals, for example with Java and Python, and we also have terminals with audio function. Our terminals are basically built around of 2 different module suppliers, or 2 different types of modules. One is Tenet, so we have terminals with Tenet modules. And the other one is Centurion, or right now also Gemalto. And so we have these 2 types of modules and terminals that are built around this module with some further features. And depending if you like to have a telet-based terminal or Centurion-based terminal, you can choose one of these terminals. So here we have a complete overview of our products. So you can see all kinds of features. As I said, dual band, quad band, 2G, 3G. We have all kinds of, let's say, variants depending on the GSM connection type. And also we have terminals that can be programmed. We have terminals with I/O functions, with audio interfaces. So depending on your application, you can choose the right product for you. The technical benefit of using a terminal is basically that we have let's say, easy software migration path, because it's basically built up on AT commands. So these terminals are communicating with AT commands. So when you have once implemented a set of AT commands for one terminal, then you can basically use, for example, if you have another application where you need another technology, for example, you want to go from 2G to 3G, then you can use a 3G terminal and don't have to implement all the AT commands from the beginning. So you have already implemented set of AT commands and you can use it also when you change the terminal. Also the hardware migration, it's very easy because we have one single design of a terminal, and so all connections like antennas and the hardware interfaces are basically the same, so you don't have to change your complete solution to fit in another terminal. Also we have low power and ultra low power modes on different terminals, so for some applications we need a low power mode, that would be the right product for you. But I will say some more details about these special modes after. Then we have different scripts that could be used on terminals. We have two terminals that can be programmed with Python and Java. And there are tools available, basically from the module suppliers, to test the terminal, test the AT commands and so on. So what do you need to run a terminal? Basically, you of course need a power supply, then you need an antenna to connect, you need serial connectors, depending if you want to have USB or RS-232, you can choose. You need to have a SIM card, and you need to take a look at the AT commands that are necessary to control this terminal. So as I already said, we have one single design, so the hardware migration is very easy. We have same RS-232 interfaces and one power supply for all terminals, basically, and the same physical features all in all. Coming down to the ultra low power mode, for example, if you have some applications where it's needed to have a very low power consumption. So for example, if you want to use it in a ticket machine, and this ticket machine is running by solar power, then of course it's important to have a product that is working on very, very low power mode. So coming down to the programmable options we have, as I said, two terminals. One is programmable by Java, the other one by Python. And here of course we have different possibilities to use this kind of function. Let's have a more detailed look why to use a programmable terminal. It's basically when you have the terminal and you have an external controller, then you don't need a terminal that can be programmed in most of the cases, because the product intelligence is on the side of the controller. But when you don't have such kind of controller and you want to centralize the solution on the product itself, on the terminal, then it's important to have the option to have this intelligence on the terminal, and that's possible with programming it Java or Python in our case. Coming to our telemetry terminals, these terminals are made for remote control and monitoring. So at one hand you can control them directly by call or SMS, or also over an app for Android. And with this device you have the possibility to control inputs and outputs. And whenever you have an event on input, for example, then you can transfer this information to the receiver by SMS or email. We have two different types of telemetry terminals. At one hand we have the STD32 and the STD35. Basically the STD35 does have more inputs and outputs, and additionally we have a backup battery on the STD35, so whenever the power gets cut off, for example, then you have the chance that the device will still running on its own power supply. Also we have a motion sensor on the STD35. So how do I can control, or better say configure this device? At one hand we have the chance to use SMS commands to configure the device. We have a tool for Windows, and also we have the app for Android smartphones. So to have an example about monitoring, how you could use this device for monitoring. For example, you have a sensor for filling meters, and you want to have an alarm message if the filling meter, for example, gets too full and it could be a problem. Then you can connect the filling meter to the STD and configure the STD, so the STD will react when it gets an input from the sensor, and then it will send an alarm message to the receiver. For remote control, we have a few customers in Germany that use this device for controlling a sprinkling system. So you have the chance to build in the STD inside of the sprinkling system, and you can send an SMS to start the system or call the device, and also you can have some external input from a time switch, for example. So on a specific time frame the STD will automatically react and start the sprinkling system. So we have also analog inputs on the STD35. With the analog inputs, the difference from them to the digital inputs is that on the digital inputs we have only the option to see if something is on or off. So for example, if you would have a rain sensor on the digital inputs, then you could only see if it rains or not. So nothing specific, if it's heavy raining or not. You only have yes or no, basically. When you use the analog input, you have the possibility to, let's say, have different kinds of information about how strong something reacts. So for example, if you have a wind sensor, you can say how fast the wind is going and send this information to the receiver. That are basically the difference between these two kinds of inputs, and depending on your application you can use the STD32 without analog inputs or the STD35 with analog inputs. So coming to the use cases, the STD can be used, for example, for remote control of heating systems. We have applications running that are made for controlling heating systems, and also in generally to transfer an alarm from one point to the other. So you can overwatch all kind of facilities. You only have to connect it to the inputs of the device, And also often used application is to control a gate. So we can, let's say, program different users on the device. So when they are calling the device, then the gate will open. What do you need to run an STD? Of course, you need a power supply, and then you need to have an antenna, a SIM card that is capable of using SMS and voice functions, and of course having a phone number on the SIM card, and a mobile phone to first configure the device and also control it afterwards. The technical benefit of using the STD products is that you have a very robust enclosure. So it's you can, let's say, screw it on a roof, for example, then it also will work under harsh conditions. And you have a wide temperature range, so you can of course also use it outdoors when it's cold outside. And a robust SIM card holder, so inside of our machine will be no problem, and a wide range of power supply.